As just the chair of the Education and Learning Committee, first of all, I just wanted to acknowledge the fantastic work that happens as part of the committee under Anne's guidance and steering. And Sandra Buchanan was there previously. Anne alluded to it earlier that the Education and Learning Subcommittee is one of the longest established. And I think that it's a fantastic example of the interagency work that happens under CYPSC, but particularly it's the opportunity just to build relationships and make connections. And I know it's lovely to see people here today, and we'll all be looking forward to getting back around the table in McKendrick Place very soon for our scones and our coffee and our chats as well in advance. This resource that we have, the Promoting Positive School Attendance, Lynn is going to talk to it. Both myself and Lynn work out in schools. I work as a psychologist and Lynn's the EWO, and we work together in a number of the schools, and it's a practical example of identifying where there is a gap and then bringing it back to CYPSC, and with the resources that CYPSC have, been able to bring this to fruition. And I think that it's a practical resource. It's a resource that will be available, and hopefully people will pick it up today, but also that can be used in schools, in the wider school community, and by parents and students as well. So with that, I'm going to pass you over to Lynn, and she can explain about it. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I think I know most people today. So I'm Lynn Bovaird, and I'm one of two educational welfare officers with TESS, which is Tusla Educational Support Service. We were formerly the National Educational Welfare Board. We've rebranded a few times, so we're now TESS. So just apologies on behalf of my colleague Joanne Rafferty, who can't be here today. So I suppose that the other thing I'd love to say is to welcome Bernard, our CEO. It's great to see you in person, so we're delighted to have you in Donegal today. So thanks to Martin. I suppose there's a lot of thanks initially, but thanks to Martin for all his support in relation to this document. And I suppose a special thanks to Anne and to the subgroup of the Education and Learning Committee and to the ETB for kindly funding the printing of this document, which is a great resource. I suppose I'd also like to thank and acknowledge the Mayo and Roscommon CYPSC groups, whose original Positive School Attendance resource packs provided the template to replicate this document today in Donegal. For most young people, school is an enjoyable and memorable event in their lives. Apologies, folks, I have laryngitis, so just bear with me, okay? It's looked upon favourably in the good times, or as in years to come as the good times. School was great, it was enjoyable, but unfortunately for a lot of the young people, and I suppose particularly the young people that we work with in TESS, school isn't an enjoyable experience. School is a real struggle. We have so many young people, unfortunately, who experience so much trauma and obstacles in their lives. When we talk about MACE and multiple adverse childhood experiences, the impact that has on the lives of our children and young people, and the effect that has on ensuring young people attend school is really, really significant. So I suppose there's many reasons as well, and it's contained within this resource today, to outline the reasons why many young people can't come to school, don't come to school. A lot of the time it's not a choice. They don't choose not to be in school, but because of all the environmental factors that are going on, they cannot be in school. Such examples as homework, poor relationships with peers and school staff, separation anxiety, poor mental health, addiction, and many other complex factors negatively impact on a child and young person's ability to attend school. Again, the COVID-19 pandemic had an overwhelming negative impact on our young people's mental health, and subsequently has contributed to a significant increase in poor school attendance, often followed by entrenched school refusal after the reopening of schools. Many families had a genuine and real fear of returning their children to school when schools reopened after the pandemic, for fear that their child would contract COVID-19 or their children would bring COVID back into the household to very vulnerable family members. So I suppose to deal with that has been an experience, to say the least. Within the Promoting Positive School Attendance in Donegal document, there are key triggers identified that can offer supports to parents, carers and schools to recognise and understand why a child or young person may refuse to attend school or attend school regularly. This document or resource also highlights common behaviours displayed by children and young people, which may indicate why a child or young person is unhappy in school or struggling with school. It also clearly outlines the reasons why a child may be permitted to be absent from school and reasons why a child should not be permitted to be absent from school, such as a child's birthday. Often we see young people translating or interpreting for family members. That is not permitted. There is a list of suggested actions parents and guardians can take to support their child to attend school more regularly. And within this document, there are 2 pages solely dedicated to signposting parents, guardians, school staff, to agencies within the community, statutory to include our own service, educational welfare, school completion and homeschool liaison who can offer support to these young people. This leaflet will hopefully support parents, guardians and indeed our school colleagues to identify, understand and support our children and young people who struggle on often a daily basis to attend school. To conclude, I would just like to again thank Anne, CYPSC and the ETB for their contributions. And I suppose just in the words of Ryan Tubridy, there is one for everyone in the audience. Thank you, folks.